So I wanted to go over like what we did for math because someone in the group had asked how we teach math. And I started when they were really young. So the younger they are, the less paper products you kind of use. But I take the concepts from math books. Obviously, you wouldn't ask your 2-year-old to write in books at age 2. But there are concepts that you could read together and concepts that you can use manipulatives for. So I kind of take books, manipulatives, toys, and flashcards, and really lots of mnemonic devices in order to get that math in naturally, because that's what I like to do. I like to do it all natural so that they don't even realize that they're learning. So I really like Singapore math because it's very multidimensional. It's not just drilling you on problems. They do a lot. So this is first grade, second semester textbook, and they go over, numbers to 40, which, most kids, a lot of kids can count to 100. If you're diligent about it, you can get there before age 3, but do they know what they're counting? Well, then it depends on the manipulatives that you use. So concepts, I kind of take, hey, what should we be learning next from these books? And then I use manipulatives. So here, they count some money. There are how many beads, how many tens, how many ones. So Singapore math does it in many different formats. Like they not only show beads, they show eggs, they show, like these, which we have. So I have, rods that are 10 a rod, 100 blocks, and stuff like that. So they take, stuff that you could use at home, beads, eggs, coins, rods, sticks, whatever it is. And then so you're supposed to know the concepts in your brain, multidimensionally, purses, dolls, whatever. You can use whatever at home. So we have so many counters at home, it's ridiculous, and I can't take them all out, but I, took out some. And of course these gets scattered all over the place, but that's okay. They're toys. They're toys that also have multi-purpose, and I love counters. We've got bears, bugs, cars, fruits, vegetables, whatever you name it. We probably have it at home. But what I like to do with these is, when they're little, of course you can do the obvious. You could count, you can do colors, you could do grouping. What kind of animals have legs, what kind don't. And then you could do subtraction, addition, count, these are kind of cute. And then they do imaginative play. And now they even, they still do a little math with these. My little one, who's 4 years old, but they can take it and, it's like kind of like a little bendy here. It's very child friendly. They used to bite on these, whatever. And then I moved to these. When we did, so these are for like 2-year-olds. You can count. You can count as high up as you want. You just buy how many sets you want. And then we moved to these cubes, which is kind of cool. You can actually build different shapes with these. So they click in. They've actually got little shapes even inside. You see that's a square. There's a triangle. There's like a pentagon, hexagon. We taught lots of shapes with these. So if I say I want 2 plus 3, you can do that. So we have a lot of these. And children love manipulatives because they like to work things with their hands. And then so I say, okay, so 2 plus 3 is 5. This is just a small example. What else can you do to get to 5? So you can do 1 plus 1 plus 4 And then you can see different ways of getting to that 5. And then, that gave them the concept that 5 is not just something that you memorize and you count to 5. You actually know what you're counting, and you start realizing that you can, hey, get to 5 in many, many different ways, and they're the same length. So these are great because we actually use them to measure units after. Like, this is 5 units long, that is 4 units long, this is longer than that, this is taller than this. So I love these. Make sure you get like the good quality ones because they snap well together. They don't fall apart easily. And you know what? They actually use these to fight each other like swords too afterwards. And then they build little buildings with it, cube buildings, little cities. They've used these for really everything. And you can wash them too, so they don't, so that they can get dirty, and it doesn't. All of these you can wash. You can stick them in the dishwasher. These everyone knows that I love because I do everything with these, and I actually have like tubs of these, and we use them up. And I've seen people in our Facebook group now using them kind of like flashcards or like little, like word sentences that you can put little Chinese characters on here. And then, but I use these because there are so many, I use these for multiplication and division. So I'll say, 3 times 2. So then they have to do 3 groups of 2. And this gives them the concept of what multiplication is, or division. So we always use manipulatives first. So I do manipulatives first, and then I move on to, so for little kids, they totally understand this. So my 4-year-old is doing multiplication problems and division problems just using these. So after she does, let's say, 1 to 2 months, 3 to 4 months, however it is long, you kind of say, well, it's kind of slow to always pull these out and put them in groups. What if I want 7 times 10? I mean, how long are you going to do that for? So I use manipulatives to teach concepts so they understand what's going on behind the numbers. And then once you have the concepts down, then you can do more what I tell them, like big kid stuff. So what is big kid stuff? Some people are against flashcards. I'm not. I love flashcards because they jog your short-term and long-term memory. So I love flashcards, and I'm very, very, very picky about flashcards. These flashcards are amazing because a lot of the flashcards, which is really annoying, is that they, have problems on both sides, and the answer on a little corner on the back side, but the back side is a totally different problem, which I hate. These cards are amazing because they only have the problem on the front, and when you flip into the back, it's the same problem but just with the answer on the bottom, so they can self-test. So this is one way of testing themselves, and we use these like to a point where, I mean, the boxes in the back are like falling apart. So I really love these flashcards, and I don't know what name they go by now. They sometimes go by Carson DeLosa Publishing. They sometimes go by Trend Enterprises. But okay, so we use flashcards once in a while, and they even do division like this, which is kind of nice, and then they put the answer on top. So I really like these cards. The other ones I use are you know how kids like to flip things and this and that. This is like a self-checking thing. So they're called learning wrap-ups. And you take the string and you do a problem. So the one that you're working with, you kind of pull it out, there's a string, and you say, 30 divided by, and I don't know, I must have done like wrapped up in weird So 30 divided by 10 is 3. And then you go to the next problem. 20 divided by 10 is 2. And then so forth. And then how do they know if they're right? So when you flip to the back, there's a self-checking feature. So the next one you probably know. You go back to the next problem. 40 divided by 10 is 4. This is hard to do with one hand. Ta-da! So, and then you complete the entire one and you move to the other number. So my kids like to play with this on the car while we're on the go. It's also plastic. It can get wet, it can get dirty, it can get whatever, and you know, you're all good. You can wash it and it's still brand new. So here's another, so I don't just use one thing, right? Because I feel like math, you kind of have to do it in many, many different ways for it to solidify in your brain. And you know, the smaller the kid, the less paperwork you're doing, so the more of these things that I have to introduce. And of course you can use anything. I mean, you can use rice. You could use, I'm just a little lazy. I like to buy it and then I just use it and then I'm good. So they love this because you get to turn. Which kid doesn't like to turn things, right? So we're turning 9 plus 6 is equal to 15. 15 minus 6 is equal to 9. See how the colors match? You're looking for a red answer here. Here you're looking for a blue answer. So it's self-checking. So you know, they like to spin. People like to make these creative things so that kids are moving their fingers as they're doing problems, because if it's just paper and pencil all the time, the smaller the kid, the less they can focus. So I usually say these are great for smaller kids because they need this a little bit more. But having said that, you know, it's also good for big kids too if they are doing stuff like addition still, so that you're not always paper and pencil, because that could seem really dull. The other thing that I bought is this. So if you are doing Singapore math, you know that there's something called like the number bond. Like 2 plus 3 is 5. So you put, see the blue here and the yellow. So you put 2, 3, and 5, and they have a number bond. So you can say 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. It's the same thing. So it's a way for them to know that there are different number bonds, and it's something that the Singapore system uses. So this is another board that we use. It's got multiplication, division on one side, and addition and subtraction on the other side. So this is a high-level overview of, you know, what we use, and then I will continue with another video to show you like actually the Singapore math books.